Chuck. That was a great presentation. I want to thank all of y'all for being here. It's so appropriate that as we celebrate yet another national championship, we're going to talk about one of the greatest football players that ever played at the University of Georgia. And he wasn't very big, I'll tell you that. In fact, this is a life-size portrait. They didn't call him Flea for nothing. So, and his grandson, Andrew, if you'll stand, he is rocking Kent's jersey right here, number 24. He's rocking his original Letterman's jacket from 1968, I think it is. So, I'll tell you what looks good on you. My first memory of Kent Lawrence was actually when I went to the Georgia Tech game in 1966 here at Sanford Stadium. I was 12 years old, and I went with my cousin from Valdosta. And Tech went back to punt. They were undefeated at the time. They went back to punt, and Kent went out to field the punt and reached down and picked up some grass and threw it up in the air. And I turned to my cousin and I said, "What in the world is he doing?" He said, "Well, he's checking the wind." Well, he must have had a tailwind because he took the punt back 75 yards for a touchdown. We beat Tech and ruined their undefeated season. So there's nothing like ruining Tech's undefeated season. And so as I was leaving, I turned to my cousin. I said, "Man, wasn't that great?" He goes, "No." I said, "What do you mean, no?" He says, "Well, I was for Tech." I haven't spoken to my cousin for the last 56 years. But if you're a child growing up in Athens, Georgia in the 1960s, Kent Lawrence was a household name. And when my friends would get together and we would play touch football, we would always pretend like we were Georgia players. You know, some people wanted to be Kirby Moore, some people wanted to be Kent, some people wanted to be Lynn Hughes. I was a little fat boy. I was slow. They wouldn't let me be Kent Lawrence. They made me pretend to be Ed Allen. I tried to get Ed Allen to come to this luncheon and he said he was sick. Somebody tipped him off. But if you remember being a child and you'd see some famous person and you'd fantasize, wouldn't that be great if we were like best friends and I could like call them up and come up to my house? Well, my fantasy came true because I was lucky enough to become close friends with Kent Lawrence. I'll never forget watching the Cotton Bowl this season when Kent went for a record 149 yards against the SMU Mustangs. He was named MVP and later entered the Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame. And y'all remember Harold Walker was a poet laureate of the Georgia Bulldogs back then. And he wrote this poem in Kent's honor. Lawrence of Arabia was noted for his speed as he rode the burning desert on his trusty Arab steed. But now another Lawrence has come on to steal the show, making his famous predecessor seem just a little slow. As the poet stated, Kent was known for his speed. He ran the 100-yard dash in 9.4. And after he became the chief of the Clark County Police, like Chuck mentioned, he encountered two men breaking into an automobile. And one of them took off running. And Kent covered 40 yards in 4 seconds and nailed the guy. And his accomplice was heard to say, "Dang, you stupid idiot, that's the fastest policeman in the United States." He was drafted in 1969 by the Philadelphia Eagles and the United States Army. And as it turns out, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles had a friend in the draft board. And so Kent was deemed to be too frail to serve in the U.S. Army, but he was plenty tough enough to be in the National Football League. He showed his prowess on the gridiron in the annual Pig Bowl football game. Who remembers the Pig Bowl game between the Clark County Police and the City Police? It was an absolutely brutal affair. Get their legs broken, people were having concussions, but they did it every year. Ricky Scarborough, I think, broke his leg in the Pig Bowl one year. He got to flash his cleats one last time, if y'all remember the 1984 G-Day game, when they decided it would be an alumni game against the varsity. Kent was one of the alumnuses, or alumni, I guess. David Shipley, I don't know, you can tell me how to say that. And so he was standing on the sideline, and they decided that the alumni team decided they're going to run a trick play. So Kent's standing on the sideline, and Tommy Parrish, alumni quarterback, drops back for a pass, and Kent comes off the sideline illegally. He catches the ball, he's on about the 40-yard line, and he's running, and he had lost a step because a 300-pound tackle named Joe Shickaloni, who had been on Coach Butt's first team in 1939, chased him down and tackled him on the 5-yard line in 1984. He kind of gave up football after that. And as he always said, it just don't pay to cheat. Well, it just don't pay. He became a prosecutor in the state court. I remember I tried my second jury trial as a defense attorney against him in 1985. My client's up for parole in about 2 more years. And when Kent became a judge at the state court, I took his place as the part-time solicitor. And back then, the part-time assistant solicitor tried every single case that came in. And I tried all those cases in front of Kent while he was the judge. He was a kind, gentle, and patient judge. And he never called me an idiot except after the jury left the courtroom. But he was old school. He wanted me to be a better lawyer. And I truly learned what little I know about trying a case from him. I really became close friends with him when I became a judge in 1991. He was a great colleague. He was an innovator. He was never afraid to try new things to improve the judiciary. And he was, let's say, fiscally conservative. Some people would say he was thrifty. Some people would say he was tight. Well, every day at lunch, we used to go down to Planet Smoothie. And we would always get the same thing, medium spaz. Planet Smoothie, medium spaz. Me and Kent walked down to Planet Smoothie. And so one day we went down to Planet Smoothie, and we were in line. And he was in front of me, and he goes, "Wait a minute, I don't know if I'm not sure what I want." I said, "What? Not sure what you want?" He said, "Yeah, you go ahead." I said, "Okay, I'll have a medium spaz." He whipped out a 2-for-1 coupon and said, "I'll have the same thing." That was Kent. In honor of that, I got this Planet Smoothie coupon. Let's have lunch sometime. We decided one day that we were going to go and get some footballs signed by Charlie Trippy. We just thought that this has been 15 years ago. And so he said, "Well, I'll go out to Walmart and I'll buy us a couple of footballs, the ones that where you can do the autographs." He said, "You can pay me back for the football." I said, "Okay, that'd be fine." He says, "Now you're going to pay me for the ball, right?" I said, "Right, okay. Because I'm going to buy your ball too." And I said, "I'll pay you for the ball." So we meet out at Charlie Trippy's. And Kent says, "Now before we go in, you're going to pay me for the ball." And I said, "Yes, I'm going to pay you for the ball." We go in there, we have a great meeting with Charlie. He signs both of our footballs. We go back out to the car, and I say, "God dang it, I ripped out my checkbook." I said, "All right, how much do I owe you for that dang football?" He said, $400. I said, $400? You couldn't have paid more than $30 for it at Walmart. He says, "Yeah, but this ball's signed by Charlie Trippy." Absolutely true story. Now, Kent was a scuba diver. He flew airplanes. He snow skied. He was a world-class runner. He actually competed against O.J. Simpson in some of the Olympic trials. I mean, truly a gifted athlete. But you would never know it if you saw him playing golf. We played a lot of golf together before he retired, mostly during working hours. After he retired in 2011, he didn't have no time to play no golf. One time, he and I and Charlie McAlexander, y'all know Charlie McAlexander, used to be the announcer at UGA. We went out and played golf at UGA, and we got up to the 9th hole, and somehow, miraculously, Kent had hit his drive into the fairway. So Charlie is up closer to the hole, and he's in the woods looking for his ball. He's behind a pine tree, kind of like one of these posts. He's standing behind the pine tree. So Kent gets up to hit his ball. Kent was left-handed, played left-handed. And so he hooked his ball into the woods. And I heard this, oh! Kent goes, 4. So Charlie came dragging out of the woods, and he had a pop knot on his thigh about that long. And the last time I saw Charlie, he was still dragging that leg. But he did say 4 at the end. And talking about thrifty, we played the last round of golf ever played at Green Hills Country Club. Y'all remember Green Hills Country Club? It was not a really great golf course. But Ken had a free coupon. Literally. He had it for 2 years. And it said on the radio, Green Hills Country Club will be closing Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. So he came to Mike and said, we're going to play golf on Friday. Because I am not going to waste this free golf round. So we went out there and we played the last round of golf at Green Hills Country Club. And they couldn't have played. We tore it up so bad they couldn't have played another round on it anyway. And the tractors were behind us as we got to the 9th hole. The tractors were already digging up the whole course. But yeah, he was a great friend. And as I remember, it's been 10 years ago that he retired. And so I remember what I told him in 2011 when he retired. And I'm just going to repeat it. Kent, it really has been my privilege to work with you all these years. I'll always remember our long discussions about lawyers who made our lives miserable and those who made them fun. I'll remember Friday lunches when it was your turn to pay. Hearing about your children and now your grandchildren and how proud you are of them. I will remember hearing about and seeing firsthand your passion for the DUI drug court, which you started and built with your own hands, and now it's the gold standard against which all of the drug courts across the nation measure themselves. I'll miss your compassion for the underdog, for those people who were having a hard time in life, who came to your court seeking justice and found it there every time. So I know Kent's last few months were a struggle. Carlene and the family showed remarkable courage during that ordeal. But I feel sure that when his time came, Kent was ready, because he knew that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many touchdowns you scored. It doesn't matter how many criminals you apprehended. It doesn't matter how many cases you won. What really matters is how many people you helped along the way and how many lives you saved. And by that measure, the legacy of Kent Lawrence will never be forgotten. Thank you very much.